First question is from Juan Toribio. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. How did David Price look out there today?
He was good. Just kind of under the weather yesterday, coming back, throwing 2 innings, facing some hitters. I thought it was good. He'll be ready for opening day.
I'm sure you know this one's coming, but any decision yet on the 5th starter?
Yeah, right now Dustin's going to start that 5th game. And David is going to be a leverage reliever with length in the pen, and Tony Gonsolin is going to fit that same role, as well as Jimmy Nelson.
And what kind of went into the decision to go with May?
I think that it was easy, it was tough, just a lot of variables that I really just don't really want to get into. I just think that we feel good with David, Jimmy, and Tony in the pen, getting left, getting right out, taking down 2, 3, 4 innings. Potentially at some point, I expect those guys to even finish a game if it makes sense. So a lot of good thoughts, but balancing a very talented pitching staff. This was sort of the first hurdle, and I think that we're in a good spot.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, how about your final position player spot?
Say that again, Jorge.
What about your final position player spot?
Yeah, Zach McKinstry is just made our opening day roster. Excited for him.
What went into that decision, I guess?
Yeah, I think that, you look at our roster and a potential right-handed bench bat, on paper, might fit a little bit better, but I just think that Zach's versatility, his ability to kind of take a good at bat off the bench, on the bases, and still, all throughout his career, handle left-handed pitching. So he'll get a start in Colorado somewhere, but just love him on the team.
Where will he mostly play, you think?
I think with Zach, it's there's a second base, there's a third base, there's a left field, and a right field.
And what about Dennis Santana?
We're still kind of the last piece of our 26-man roster is that last bullpen piece. So we're still kind of finalizing between Dennis and Scotty.
And then with David and Tony and Jimmy Nelson, early on in the season, do you expect those guys to do maybe we talked about earlier in the spring, doing what maybe Julio was doing in 2019, pitching 3 innings at a time, 3 or 4 innings at a time to start the season?
Yeah, it's a threading of a needle. I think that they're all major league pitchers and major league starters, for all intents and purposes. So to make sure that these guys stay built up is important for not only them, but for the 21 Dodgers. And but still appreciating game situation, hitting for a pitcher. There are going to be times where I expect David or Tony to still take an at bat to take down a couple more innings if the game makes sense for that situation. But yeah, I think that having those guys stay built up and not being 1-inning relievers is important.
Going to a different topic here. The league released a memo to players, its staff today about the vaccinations, saying that once they reach 85%, restrictions will be loosened. Have players and staff members started getting vaccinated for you guys? And do you think you'll reach that 85% number?
You know what? I'm hopeful we will, Jorge. I had mine, so I just like to speak on my personal situation. I had mine a little while ago, and so one of 2. So hopefully, it's a personal decision. And so, but yeah, the more people that get it, we reach that 85% threshold, we can kind of lax some things around the clubhouse and the dugout. So I'm hopeful, but again, that's each man's decision.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Eric Steven. Go ahead.
Dave, just wondering, you guys start on the road for the taxi squad. Will the reliever who doesn't make the roster be on that taxi squad?
Yes.
And is it same with Kabert? The fact that he's here, is he sort of going to be the third catcher there on the taxi squad as well?
You know what? I don't know, but that makes sense. I think that Kabert, I don't know right now, Eric, how many guys we can carry. You might know better than I do, whether it's 3 or 5 guys like we had last year, but certainly having a third catcher makes sense. And if it were, yeah, Kabert would be the guy.
Thanks, Dave.
Next question is from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dylan.
Not to put too much stock into spring training numbers, but, with Corey Seager, obviously we've kind of seen a carry over that power that really started to emerge last year. Is this just a case of him, kind of getting older and just physically maturing?
I think it's just overall maturation. I think mentally, emotionally, physically, he's physically healthy. I think that his approach at the plate, his mechanics are all dialed in, synced up. And yeah, there's homers in there, but he's a guy that just really takes good at bats and he knows where the barrel's at and he hits it hard. And, if he gets the right trajectory, it's a homer. If not, it's a double. So just really pleased at where he's been, this last year and a half.
I think when he came up, the scouting report was kind of right. Maybe like you said, right, a lot of line drives. Maybe that he would hit 25 to 30 home runs with like a ton of doubles. I mean, can you see like a 40+ home run season out of him?
Yeah, I think with Corey and the talent, I think anything's possible. Certainly, because he does know where the barrel's at. He can slug to all parts of the field. And I think that as I've seen, last year and in the postseason, slug comes when you can get into at bats more. And I think that as he's been around and accrued more service time, more at bats, he's trusted getting into at bats, deeper into at bats. And I think that any guy that's going to hit 40 homers can run counts and get deep into counts. And he's done a much better job of that, in my opinion.
In 19, we saw him obviously kind of that season where he came off those 2 surgeries, and right, it was a bit of a tough year for him, at least like numbers wise. What did you kind of learn about him, I guess, as you saw him, kind of try to get back in the rhythm of things, and now getting back to this place now where, again, he's one of the top hitters in the league?
I think. I know I belabor the point, but he's healthy. And when you're healthy, you're happy. And so I've just never seen him happier on the baseball field. And, still understanding that he's very focused and very, very competitive with himself, helping us win baseball games. So I just think that right now, it's as good as I've seen him. And I'm excited for his season.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
I got time for one more. Go ahead, Alden.
Hey, Dave. Usually teams with excess starting pitching will option guys to the minor leagues or put guys on waivers. How unique is it for you to carry as many as 3 different starting pitchers in your bullpen? And how difficult do you think that's going to be to manage in terms of getting these guys into the right situations, but also keeping them stretched out so you preserve some of that starting pitching depth in the season when you're really going to need it?
Yeah, I think, Alden, there's first of all, we're in a great spot. We have a lot of talented pitchers. And there's going to have to be a little bit of bullpen gymnastics, pitching gymnastics as far as the season. This is an unknown this season coming off of last year. I think the ultimate goal that the players, the coaches, the organization are aligned in the fact that we want our guys, our pitchers, to be as sharp and as fresh and as strong for the September, the postseason run. How you get there, how we get there can be debated. We're going to have to be nimble. But it is important to keep all these guys fresh throughout the season. And that goes for starters and guys in the pen. And so having 3 guys in the pen that are major league starters that can take down innings, I think is very valuable. And I don't think any team in baseball can say they have that.
Thanks, Dave.